Hello.
We're
Welcome.
back.
We're back. Yeah.
We're back.
Look more normal, right?
Yeah, we even feel pretty darn good at this point. So the beard's a little shorter. If you notice,
Yeah.
if you look at my last video, it was a little bit longer. It was down to about here.
Yeah, trim
So,
that.
you
Yeah.
know, I finally got that done. I'm going to work on the hair next, but,
Yeah,
but slowly but surely we're coming back to full steam.
We're
So,
coming along, yeah.
anyway, and we think we got a very interesting podcast about a situation that we haven't really discussed before.
No, we really haven't, and we're anxious actually to share this with you because it is unusual. Um, and here's a case where you meet someone and you really don't have any idea the impact it is going to have on your life. And this was one of those occasions.
Absolutely. This was one of the bigger
Yeah,
ones.
it really was. And it started when, shortly after we moved to Tennessee, is and was a huge arts and craft show festival in Gatlinburg, Tennessee. And
At the convention
yeah,
center.
and they had a spring show and a fall show.
Mm-hmm.
And I happened to go to the spring show.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, had never been. And I was walking along and stopped at this one booth, and this woman and her husband had paintings of Santa. So naturally, I stopped and was admiring them, and she came out, and her name was Brenda Harris Tustian, and she was talking to me about that, and I told her that there was one picture or painting in particular that I thought looked like Joe, and I thought, boy, this really looks like my husband.
Which we actually later bought.
Yes, we did.
Yeah,
yes, we did. That was the first painting we bought from her.
Mm-hmm.
But and she was very kind. She said, well, yes, she says, I'm sure. At the time, I didn't realize that she had probably heard that story countless times from different individuals of both wives and Santas that came by.
Wherever she went.
Yeah,
yes.
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But we chatted for a while.
And you really got to know each other.
Yeah. And she said, well, we'll be back here in the fall. And I, hope to see you then. And I said, well, yeah. I said, maybe I'll, bring my husband with me.
Mm-hmm.
Well, sure enough, the fall show came, and I had talked to Joe about that I had met this couple, and actually, just as a kind of an aside, but there was another couple there who, she was a stained glass artist,
mm-hmm.
and he did wood turning.
Woodworking.
Yeah. And today they are our best friends.
Our dearest friends.
Yeah, so it was kind of funny. That show was almost like it was meant to be for me to direct it.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, in the fall show, I said, we should go and just visit this gal. You've got to see her paintings. They're really beautiful. They're all watercolors.
So I had decided I'll go ahead and put my suit on just for the fun of it,
yes.
Because you never know. But
and he was a little behind me.
So I was a lot behind.
Well, that's true, because he was getting
people
stopped.
were coming up to me, and I was,
Yeah.
Santa never moves through anywhere very fast.
No,
I mean, he's always waylaid along the way, which is perfectly okay.
Yes.
However.
So I got to the booth, and
And Brenda remembered you right away.
Yes, she actually did.
Immediately.
She said, I'm glad you came back and visited, Brenda and
Mm-hmm.
Mike. And I turned to look, and Joe wasn't there. And I said, well, I brought my husband. I said, he's kind of waylaid back there. And then he came down the aisle.
And came around the corner.
And her eyes just got so big. And she just teared up. And when he came into the booth, she said,
Go ahead.
You're the Santa of my childhood dreams. And she just cried. And from there, he then became her model, which she never had a model before that. She
No,
had
I hadn't done any modeling for painting.
no,
so
and she
I've done
never used a
photo
model,
shoots and stuff, but not.
but
Yeah.
she never did either.
No, she never did.
That really all this, and she had quite a few paintings done, and those were all of her childhood imagination. She had never used an actual person,
Right. As Santa.
yeah, to do that. And as you can see, this painting in the back of us.
Which, by the way, this is what prompted this podcast. Is we've had people say, "Now, what is that painting, and where can I get it, and what is that you?" And the answer is, yes, it is me.
Yes.
That was one of the first ones we
Yes.
did. And yes, you can get it. And yes, we're gonna put all the links into this so that you can go and look at it and figure out which ones you might like. She is a very renowned artist.
She is.
I could go on and on and on about where her paintings have hung and where they have showed up. Dolly Parton has one. I mean, you know, it's hung in the White House.
In the
Atlanta
Atlanta
Congressional House.
Yeah.
Just too many places to name. And she's very, very well known and has just absolute. And Santas aren't the only thing she does.
No.
But with regard to our podcast, this is what we're going to stay to.
Right.
But you're welcome to please visit her website. We'll have the link in there.
Yeah.
And see some of the others she does. Animals, she does still life, she does name
flowers
it. So,
and such, and she's just
incredible.
A warm, wonderful, gracious lady. She's
a true Southern belle.
Yeah, and I
Southern
think
belle.
her thing on her website is a gentleness in art.
Yeah.
And she is that. Her art pictures that, but so does she.
Yeah.
She really was just wonderful.
Yeah.
Or is wonderful. She's not. She's not dead.
She's still going.
Yeah.
Thank you. We love you, Brenda. We're not, but yeah, and actually, Mary's. As you will see in this, we're going to post some of the paintings that she has. I have been painted over 15 times by Brenda in various things, from collegiate art to, the Washington, D.C. to, just horses. It actually started out the very first one. She was commissioned by National Geographic to do their Christmas card.
Yes. Yeah.
And she had done it one time.
Yeah.
And after she met me, she was invited to do it a second time.
Yeah.
And that was actually the very first painting she did of me, which was for the National Geographic. So I'm actually on a National Geographic Christmas card.
Yes.
Somewhere out there, So, so, and again, this was just a happenstance.
Yeah, meeting.
Not planned, not.
And when we met her, honestly, I had no thoughts, ideas, plans. I certainly didn't tell Joe we should go meet this woman because she might want you to be a model.
No. I wasn't. I wasn't even thinking.
No. We were just thinking of, she was such a lovely lady. She and her husband Mike, and she had such beautiful paintings. I just wanted to show him, that they, and it was her.
Well, and even before I left that day, Mike, who has since passed away, and we miss him dearly.
Yes.
Mike took me and Brenda into a stairwell.
Oh, that's right. Yes.
With his camera, and he started clicking away pictures.
That's right.
And he must have taken 100 pictures or more.
Yes.
Of me, because she said, "I need to use you. I want to use you." And now, as as a cute aside to this, when we visited Brenda in her studio. Later in Georgia, she showed me a stack, no lie, that thick or more, of Santa cards that Santas had asked her to please let her use them as a model.
Yeah. She just said no.
And she just had the stack and said, these are all the Santas I'd met. So, yeah. So it's a very, very special thing to me. Yes. And as you will see in these paintings, she's done a magnificent job of recreating me.
And I think the other thing is, and we really did, we developed a wonderful friendship.
Oh, yeah.
With she and Mike, and of course they would come.
And now her new husband, Ron, yes. I mean, not to take anything away from Ron, is also lovely.
She's since remarried, and we've been down and visited her home several times.
Yeah.
And stayed with them. And so it kind of went far beyond just, a model. We really did become very fast friends. So it was really strange that particular show ended up, changing certainly Joe's life. He certainly never posed as a model for an artist. And again, now today we're sitting here and she's painted him 15 times. So, I mean, that was just an amazing thing. And, there's an instance you just never know.
Yes.
You just never know.
Santa can open up some really phenomenal doors. And again, there were a lot of Santas she had met, but she hadn't seen the one that she wanted until I walked into that room. And I never asked.
Oh,
I never once said, well, Roy, would you make me a model? No, never had to.
No.
I mean,
it was just, again, one of those things that I had hit it off with she and Mike and
I think you'll see that in a picture of the three of us. I mean, we were just, in love with each other.
Yeah.
So,
and again, I mean, the paintings she had done before were beautiful. I mean,
but it really doesn't look like me until me.
Right.
And then, so it was interesting that she kind of changed her style a little bit and started working with, well, as she said, a real model, which she had never done with Santas.
She had never done it.
As Mary said, it was just out of her imagination that she did this.
Yes.
So.
And for me, I mean, again, the watercolors I always thought were not quite as exact as like
oil
or acrylic or something like that. But as you can see, she has unbelievable detail that she achieves with her watercolors. How she does it.
Yeah, she is strictly, or primarily, a watercolor artist. I mean, she's done a couple of oils, but she primarily only works in watercolors. And the things she adds to the paint, the little nuances and the things you have to look for and find are incredible. Like the one behind me has a cross in the background that you wouldn't see unless you were looking right at it and you went,
you wouldn't see it.
There it is. And it's just above my head. So, So she really is an absolute incredible artist, and she's been an incredible part of our life.
Yeah, she's been a wonderful supporter and a friend. I mean, just, and again, just such an impact. And I know that Joe always felt so honored to be painted by her because she is a renowned artist, and she certainly could have had anybody really that she chose. I mean, and we do know there were some pretty nice looking Santas that I recognize their cards, so it's not that they weren't
and after
nice
I mean, she moved in Georgia and set up another studio and that kind of thing. And she did actually wind up using two other Santas that I'm aware of.
Yeah.
But she only used them like once, and that was it.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, it was just, and again, and I'm sure they're as honored as I am about being in one of her paintings. And I invite you, if you like them, buy one.
Yeah.
Because I'll tell you, she does incredible things, and she has incredible offers on some of the paintings.
Yes, and you can you get prints.
Yes.
As most artists have of their work. Which you can, especially if you don't get it framed, and just get the print itself.
Or
and
you
then
can
frame
get
it
it
yourself,
framed.
or you can get it framed.
And you can get canvas
Yes.
prints, which are a higher end and you know, much more detailed. But yeah, of course, more money, but you know.
Yes.
Yeah, but anyway, just an incredible artist, an incredible friend.
Yeah.
And truly somebody who I will never ever forget, nor will you.
No. I mean, and you know, we haven't seen her in a number of years, but we do go back and forth and touch base and make sure everybody's okay. And
yeah, she just had another birthday.
Yes, and we also were invited down on numerous occasions and met the family. So her
even had Christmas
her
Day
kids
with
and her
her
grandkids
kids and grandkids.
Yeah. So
which was a blast.
Yeah,
I mean, we absolutely loved
we
that.
always had a wonderful time. So yeah, and again, this is an absolute integral part of our journey.
Yep. So again, if you think Santa winds up with some really strange things, well, this is certainly one of them for me.
Yeah.
And you know, it's a major part of my life, and it's funny that we hadn't even done a podcast on this before, but this is something that we're never, well, I'm never far from this.
No.
I mean,
no, we're fortunate. We have several paintings, obviously, that hang here, and and it is. It's just one of those things that you never know, and sometimes that little niggling of you need to go back and you need to talk to this person again, or you need to see him again. You know,
you never know what'll come out of it. So.
No.
Well, anyway, we hope you enjoyed that little story and our history on that.
And I'm going to include some pictures of the paintings that we have. Obviously, also will include a link to her website, because you can see pictures of her and read a little bit more about her. And
acquire.
In order, you know, paintings if you want. So. Yeah.
Which I highly recommend. So
absolutely.
So anyway.
So thank you for joining us, and of course, we do 2 podcasts a month. We do it on the 10th and 24th, and
please subscribe if you haven't already done so. I mean, we ask all the time, and you know, hit the little bell so that you know exactly. In case you forget, we do it on the 10th and 24th. We'll remind you. So So anyway, and of course, tell your friends and ask them to subscribe as well.
Please.
We would love that.
Yes, and continue to make comments, because we love to hear from you.
All the time. Yes. Well, thank you so much for joining us, and we'll look forward to seeing you in a couple more weeks.
So.
You know, seriously, I hope you enjoy Brenda's website.
Yes, I think you will.
I mean,
that's absolutely gorgeous. So, so until then, we'll be signing off and see you in a couple of weeks.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.